I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy merch indeed, and shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener. We are just surprising people. We told y'all.
Oh, flick off that light. We're in a cavern.
We
Bring us back to our cave. Oh, you want it?
I don't want to be in the cave.
Oh, okay.
All right. We told you guys. The op tempo was going to increase. We told you. You have more to look forward to from Vin and Sori.
Yes,
okay, guys.
You have some exciting things tonight. We've got 2 songs lined up. The first one is going to be Gathering of Bones. Again, has come through with another song reaction that they are going to have us listen to and give our...
part of our unsigned hype. Gathering of Bones is a band that we've already reviewed, and we're going to do it again. The name of this particular song from the band is Justified. Justified is the name of the song. Gathering of Bones is the name of the band. We gotta have at least 15 likes in order to stay afloat. This is an unscheduled stream, so
Bless you. Bless you.
there's a certain amount of songs that we're gonna cover that we're not gonna cover if we don't get the likes. All right. All right, guys, here we go.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Gathering of Bones, Justified is song number 1. Let's go. Uh-oh.
Okay.
Oh, ominous. What key is this, Steve?
Told me to plan the attack. You know me, I never hold back. My methods now take you aback. I'm making my name, I am justified. I'll get what I feel I deserve. Under the prize that I've earned. Shake the foundations of earth. I'm making my name, I am justified. Out of my face, I've got nothing to say. Say what you want, it won't turn me away. Everyone's so self-absorbed, tired of holding the door. Playing the same such a bore. Can't wait to show them what I got. I'll get what I feel I deserve. Under the prize that I've earned. Shake the foundations of earth. I'm making my name, I am justified. Out of my face, I've got nothing to say. Say what you want, it won't turn me away. I'm waiting. Not lately. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for what is mine.
Whoa, okay, that was Justified by the band Gathering of Bones. And we already talked about in the because this is on the same record.
Yeah,
We already talked about the production quality,
Right,
so I'm not
yep.
going to talk about
I
production
agree.
again. We already gave feedback
agree,
about that.
yep.
Conceptually, though, on the riffs, like you could tell that they were heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely some drop D, but like definitely hearing the song is like, yeah, man, like if we had like that you know, top-notch whatever production company would have really came through. But if you listen to music long enough, like for example, like I was listening to Kirk Hammett. He was playing some Ride the Lightning.
Okay.
So some of those songs from Ride the Lightning he had played into like this little handheld recorder.
Okay.
So it was like the quality was like a guy playing in a handheld recorder, but
you knew conceptually, oh my God, that's this song, that's this song, that's this song.
Okay.
Like, it's a heavy song. And you knew it was heavy because now I'm placing it with Master of Puppets or whatever. But like, he was playing a bunch of these riffs that he had when he was in his old band. And he was just like putting them together and be like, hey man, maybe you can use this or whatever. And they used quite a few of his riffs. So it was like, if you listen to metal long enough, you can know this is a good song. This is going to be crazy, even if it doesn't have the, and that's one of the reasons why, like, me and Jay Dispirited, who's actually in here, right here. So he's a guitarist in our band. So I played my part, right? And, she's like, oh, that's nice, Finn, whatever. Jay goes and puts his part on it.
Baby, it was the drums.
It comes back. She's like, oh my God, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, all right, fine. So we got rid of my part, and I just did whatever to compliment Jay's part. So the first part of that song was like originally something that I wrote, and then Jay wrote something obviously 10 times better. And you could tell because of how she responded. She's like, oh my God, this is so crazy, this is so good, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. Now go ahead. Go on with your excuse.
Well, it came back with drums. Like, I can't imagine what a song is going to sound like hearing just one layer of it. I guess I don't think I'm that artistic as far as instrumentally goes because I don't play the guitar and stuff. So, I mean, I strum a little bit on the acoustic, but nothing major. C, D. A little bit of G in there, maybe some E minor. But yeah, so when you did it, it was just, I was only hearing one. And then when it came back, it was layered with your guitar, his guitar. I know it had drums in it. That's what I know.
No, it was just his guitar.
The drums
just
became
his guitar.
Then drums.
I put stuff. I augmented my riff to fit his closer, and so that's what happened.
Painful.
Oh,
so sorry.
LOL, bro. You should just take the credit for it. Yeah, right. Just save the riff and use it for another song. Well, the reason I didn't save the riff was because it was too similar to the riff that Jay did. So like Jay's riff was kind of like, I think he was
like
using
the muse for his.
He was using it to complement mine.
Mm-hmm.
But his compliment of it was just better than the original. So then I wrote my part to complement his part. That's how it ended up happening. That's the way it's supposed to happen, though, if you're in a band, honestly. Like, I give her shit for liking Jay's stuff more than mine, but objectively speaking, it was objectively better than mine. That's why I scrapped it, because, like, if the goal is to have the best song possible, then that's the goal. Like, I don't care. I mean, you guys saw the solo. I'm pretty limited in what I can do. So, when you have that awareness, then it's a little bit easier to deal with it. I just give you shit for it, because it's clear she loved Jay's part. And wasn't really feeling mine. Then she tried to correct it. Okay, so that is where that's kind of okay. Don't need to plan the attack. You know me, I never hold back. My methods might take you aback. I'm making this is kind of like rappy a little bit in the cadence.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And there is some accenting there and all that good stuff.
Right. I'm making my name, I'm justified. I get what I feel I deserve. Look at the prize I have earned. Is that earned?
Yeah.
Little thing the other way.
Shake the foundations of the earth. Yeah, Jay, I'm gonna dislike your song on purpose, bitch. I'm gonna hate the shit out of that song.
So will I.
Yeah, right. So it looks like this is a dude. This is one of those I'm getting like what I'm owed type situations. I'm going to get what I deserve. Not really going to plan about it. I'm going to shake the foundations of the earth because I'm making my own way. I'm justified. Out of my way. I've got nothing to say. Say what you want. It will turn me away. The irony of this song is really fascinating because there's a lot of personal pronouns here.
Mm-hmm.
You know me.
Yeah.
I never fight back. My methods might take you aback. I'm making my name. I'm justified. I get what I feel I deserve. Look at the prize I have earned. Shake the foundations of the earth. I'm making my name. I am justified. Out of my face, I've got nothing to say. Say what you want and will turn me away. And then the next line is, everyone is so self-absorbed.
Yeah.
So it's like,
well,
it's a very ironic.
Yes.
It's a very ironic
yes,
twist.
I agree. But he goes on to say, tired of holding the door. I think that
Playing the saint, such a bore. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that when you're like the nice guy or the nice person that's always like doing, like
I see where
there
you're going.
does come
I
a
see where you're
point
going.
where you're like, wow, fucking everybody is self-absorbed because nobody's realizing that I've been the doormat this entire time. Like, I think that can kind of, I do think that it's not healthy to wait until you're at that breaking point where you're like, fuck everybody. But at the same time, like, I understand. I mean, you know, it is a thing that happens for sure. But I think if you can say something before you get to that point, it's just a better transition.
Yeah. I kind of had that feeling too, and like, especially if you like you come from a religious background, like it's a very hard thing to balance out between like this whole concept of taking what belongs to you. You know what I'm saying? Like what he's saying in the song, like this is mine, this belongs to me. It's very hard from a religious perspective, especially from a Christian perspective, to try to find a way to like have that mentality and then just because you're supposed to be humble and you're not supposed to be a self-promoter and things of that nature. And so it is difficult, you know, like to try to balance that out. And like, and I think because people make it sound like there's no Christ-like way to kind of fight for your identity in that way. And so because of that, people basically, they try to hold off as long as possible because they think it's Christ-like to not, you know, take what belongs to them.
Yeah. It's like,
so
like
they
turn
think,
the other cheek.
those people are bad. I don't want to be bad. I want to be Christ-like. So I'm going to let people walk all over me. And then you get to the point where you can no longer tolerate it. And then you just go crazy. And then you don't care what anybody else thinks. Mm-hmm. And I think I think anytime I run into those situations, I'm always like, yeah, maybe that's one of those situations where people are trying to be more righteous than Jesus. Because there were times when Jesus was like, nah, I am who I am. You guys don't know what you're talking about. You know, like in John chapter 8, he says, I'm from above, you're from below. And if I would have said any different, I'd be a liar like you. It was like, what? I remember the first time I read that in the Bible, I was like, what? Jesus is saying that to people? Jesus out here cooking niggas, bro. He said, I'm from above, you're from below. If I would have said any different, I'd be a liar like you. Holy hell.
I remember when I used to read that, but I had to keep the vision of like Jesus with the lamb on his shoulders.
Yeah.
And so I would like try to, you know, but I would be a liar like you. Like I would always try to make it like, and then like you say it, I'm like, it does kind of seem like that's the way he was saying it. Nah, I'd be a liar like you.
What do you mean? At the end of the chapter, they try to stone him to death. He wasn't being nice to them boys.
Yeah, exactly.
He cooked them boys. Them boys got cooked. He cooked them boys in public. He said, I'd be a liar like you. So like, there is a way to kind of assert yourself and say, hey, you must not know who I am, bruh. Like there is a way to do that, and you have to hold that in balance, because if you don't, and you just eat it, like you're gonna eventually blow up, because you were not designed to be treated that way. And it's not virtuous. It's not virtuous to let people walk all over you and all that shit. Like there is a level where you have to say like, yo, this is a line, like don't cross me, like period.
Yep.
But you know, I think a lot of times like people's religious influence comes onto them and they don't really know how to. I think that's one of the really biggest problems with people. Have a very hard time with trying to find ways to stand up for themselves when they feel like they're trying to be in a Christ-like mode. Yeah. You know, and so that's why like actually reading the Gospels will be helpful, because he gave it to folks like straight up, you know, and like when people dishonored him, like he called them out for it.
Can you give me an example?
Well, I mean, he literally says like, if Abraham was your father, you would love me. As it is, you're trying to kill me, a man who's giving you the truth from God. Your father Abraham did not do these things. So right there, he's saying, you guys have an obligation to love me. You should love me. Like, again, like that's, and then he said, my father, and he says, I seek his honor, but you dishonor me. Christ said that, John. He said, you dishonor. And then he said, but there is one who, he's like, I don't seek my glory, but there's one who seeks it. So there was that balance where Christ is able to say, like, you guys are disrespecting me, you're dishonoring me, I'm going to call it out. But I don't need to like square that circle with you, because God is gonna sort all this shit out, and it's gonna make it very, very clear when this is all over. And so I think like you got to have that kind of an edge as a Christian. Like you know, Jesus had a kind of edge to him where like people knew like, all right, this is as much as we can go with this dude. The same thing in the garden when they came for the troops and he knocked everybody on their ass. Like, he's like, well, if you're gonna come for me, take me, but leave these guys alone. And the implication was clear. Like, otherwise, I'll cut everybody's throat. Like, you better leave these kids alone, bruh. So you have to. You gotta that, and I just think the real prescription is just read the Gospels as they were, because if you actually read the Gospels as they are, you'll see a Jesus that says very troublesome things, like things that you'd be like, oh, I don't know about that, bro. Like, what? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's why, like, when people like my atheist friends, when they go to like these evilbible.com or whatever, it's all the Old Testament stuff. I'm like, man, these people they got nothing. This is nothing. Y'all ain't.
Yeah.
You guys are not. You're not reading the shit Jesus is actually saying. Because if you think that's a problem in the Old Testament, good night.
There's more.
Yeah, it's what he says. Like, everybody's so self-absorbed. I'm tired of holding the door. You know, it's like when. That's the other side of it. It's like, if everybody is doing X, why am I day in and day out still trying to apply these principles? Why am I still out there holding the door? Why am I doing this shit and getting walked all over on? Like, that's a real question for people. And if you can't figure out like how to answer that question, then yeah, you're gonna lash out at people. Jesus is more hardcore than Yahweh. No, Jesus is Yahweh. Right? So that's how to answer that question. He says playing the saint.
Such a bore.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that has to do with people misunderstanding what the term saint means. I think a lot of that has to do with like Catholicism. Like, saint becomes like this like thing that you attain to. Like, if you're like a super Christian, the regular Christians, like, that's all us. But then the saints are like these super Christians. When in a biblical world, that's not the case.
Right.
Like, anybody who has committed to Christ is a saint from a biblical perspective. You had certain churches that were awesome that you know Paul loved, and then there were other churches that were just absolutely terrible. You got dude sleeping with his stepmom, like literally, like dude sleeping with his stepmom, like all types of crazy shit was going on, like in broad daylight. And in that church, Paul also says, these are saints. You guys are saints. So a saint is not somebody who is like living a super extra righteous life. A saint is a sinful person who says, okay, it's Jesus or it's nothing. It's Jesus, what he did on the cross and that resurrection, or it's nothing. That's what a saint is, long and short of it. But what happened, and that is something that you are. It's kind of like my kids, like when they're born into the family, like that is who they are. That's who they are by nature. That's like in the deepest recesses of their being, like literally their blood, their DNA, like they're identifying markers that make these people part of our collective. And so that's the same idea. Once you're on the team, you are a saint. But look, it says, tired of playing the saint. Playing the saint is such a bore. And that's what happens. Like when you take the term saint and you take it away from everybody who's in the family is a saint, just by definition of being born into the family, right? So in your first birth, you do not control your DNA and your and all those markers that make you mine, right? You just take on the DNA of your father, of your parent when you're born. Okay, well, when you're born again, it's the same concept. So my kids don't try to be our family. They just are our family. And then there are things that mark, there's certain unique characteristics that mark people that come from our family. Like you could tell somebody in our family from a mile away. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
So like there's certain tendencies that mark you as a person in our family, but you're not doing those things to maintain that position. You're doing those things because that's what you are.
Yeah.
Like an orange tree is going to get you oranges because that's what it is. Like it's not trying to do anything else. It's not like looking at the pear tree going, how do I do that? And the orange tree is just going to get you an orange. So if you were born in our family, like you were going to act a certain way. Okay? And so when you get born again into God's family, that's why Jesus says you have to be born again. When you get born again into God's family, it's the same thing. You are a saint by nature. and then you start doing, quote, saintly activities out of the new nature that you've been giving from your new birth. And so religious people tend to get really angry when they forget that principle, and they're like, oh, that's right, I'm supposed to be a saint. And they forget the principle that a saint is who they are. They start playing a role. They start saying, oh, this is what a saint does. This is what a saint would do. And then they start overanalyzing, overthinking it. And when you do that, it's over with. That's not sustainable, okay? Because God didn't design us to run on that kind of obligation.
Right.
We were designed to run on what's natural, right?
Yeah.
So, like, one of the ways to avoid getting that kind of bitter feeling as a, quote, religious person is to be and not to do. Just be who you are, and the shit will come out naturally. And if it doesn't come out naturally, then you have to question who you are. That's the bigger question. Not, okay, here's a role. This is what saints do. This is a role that I have to play. It's not a role you have to play. It's just a person that you are. So, but I think the song is really good because it's trying to figure that out. How do I balance that out? How do I balance out like my protection of my ego, meaning the ability to be honored or dishonored? That's part of your ego. Ego isn't bad. It's a recognition of the self. Ego becomes bad when you make the ego the ultimate. And when truth gets sacrificed for ego, that's when it's bad.
Yeah.
But saying I have rights, all these things, all those come from the ego.
Yeah.
Those are good things. Those are not bad things. People standing up for their rights and things like that are good things. They're not bad things. So I'm gonna give this, and we, like I said, we already talked about the production situation. I wanted to get more into it. This song is 9.5. 9.5 for me. I thought that it was he challenged himself here lyrically.
I agree.
And there was a definite there was a little bit of what do you call that? What's that? The band on Patreon?
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses. Like in his vocal style, the vocal style was a little Guns N' Roses to me.
Okay. Yeah, I think that
Later, Maury.
there's something like about his vocal style that I like, and then there's something about it that seems like it's not quite like, it's like when I first start practicing a song and I'm not like completely fluent in it yet.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's still a little bit forced. But I definitely like where it's headed. So I think that this is just the beginning for this band, and I think that they're headed in a really good direction. I enjoy it. I definitely enjoyed it. And I definitely can see like a lot of potential with where they're going. It's a 9, solid 9 for me.
All right, we got a commercial break. We're coming
We'll be
back on the
right
other
back.
side of the break. It's I think White Snake is the name of the band. I'm not sure, but
White Shark, right?
White
Think about white waves.
commercial break. We'll be right
White
back.
something.